In times of stress, two things kept me going. One was the friend circle that I had during my coaching, second were my parents, and third was food.
The moment I came to Kharagpur, things were very different because till now I was with the support of my home. All the women in my family, the educated ones, were getting more importance. I thought that, I have to prove myself. Some literary society, they asked me, do you write? I was like, no, I don't write, but I just want to learn. I just come and do. That really changed my perspective. Till then, I was just a student. Now I am a student leader, right?
We felt that we could make an impact by leveraging our network to make sure that the people who need plasma are supplied with that. People should be open to each other's thought processes.
I don't just tell the output to him. I tell him the thought process behind that output.
So one thing is definitely there, like we are definitely friends before even we are partners right now.
Hi, I am Shweta Gurnani Singh, and I am so excited to welcome you to my conversation with Yash and Aishwarya. They are both alumni of IIT Kharagpur. I was fortunate to be part of their GMAT journey, and now they are going to Kellogg School of Management as a couple. Yash, Aishwarya, I'm so excited to talk to you about your journey, what you did at Kharagpur, life after Kharagpur, the way you made a difference during the pandemic, how you leveraged your network to help others. We're very excited to learn how both of you grew together as partners, supported each other, cooperated, evolved. There is so much exciting stuff to learn from them and to celebrate them. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for inviting us, Shweta. Would love to share our thoughts and our journey with you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I know about some bit of your journey after KGP, but I have no clue how you reached KGP. So how was your schooling? How did you crack the JEE? What happened?
So, I've lived across two different cities since my childhood. Until class 7, I was in Pune. Then I moved to Navi Mumbai because of my father's work. So in Pune, again, I studied in two different schools. But when I came to Navi Mumbai, it was a completely new experience because Navi Mumbai, it's more cosmopolitan, lot of different set of folks. But one thing that kept me constantly going was my strength or my love for science. And that's where in class 10th, I figured I want to go for IIT JEE. So when I made the decision to prepare for IIT, I decided to enroll myself in a JEE coaching institute. So the name of the institute was IIT in Space, and I enrolled in their integrated program. So I didn't really have to go for my schooling. Everything, like including the coaching and schooling, was a part of that program itself. So I would practically say 11th and 12th was just studying like all day, all night long, and doing that for 2 consistent years. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of happy days, and I would say more than happy days, there were more traumatic days as well, because you have those weekly or bi-weekly tests which you give, and then the score is not always up to your expectations. But that journey where you consistently do the same thing every single day without a break, without weekends, for 2 consistent years, that's what really helped crack into IIT. So yeah, that's how the journey unfolded. And of course, it was possible because of the teachers who taught us during the coaching program. A lot of the friends group I had during my coaching, some of like really smart group of people, that really made it happen. And went into IIT Kharagpur post that. So yeah, that's the journey before IIT that I had. In IIT, of course, it's a long journey altogether, but let's go to that later.
So was this very stressful, the JEE, and how did you cope with that stress?
So definitely, JEE was, I would say, a pretty stressful affair. I was determined that no matter what, I want to keep preparing without worrying about the outcome. So it was definitely stressful, but in times of stress, 2 things kept me going. 3 things, in fact. One was the friend circle that I had during my coaching. Second were my parents, and third was food.
You had access to home cooked food.
Yes. I did my coaching in Navi Mumbai itself. It was like 2 kilometers from my home, so I used to take a bus there. So yeah, it was very close to my home, so I had all those things keeping me going.
So a lot of kids who go to Kota to study, they miss out on that.
Yeah.
Family network,
so that
home
was
cooked food.
that was one thing I really had. So that kept me going. Yeah.
Aishwarya, what was your journey like? The JEE, the schooling. How did you reach KGP?
So, my entire childhood was in a town. I didn't know anything about IIT, or neither was I a topper. I mean, I was just a kid who was average at school and more active in all the extracurriculars. Then my family moved to Hyderabad. That's where I saw Narayana and Chaitanya, which are well known for IIT JEE, and they put me in one of the Chaitanya schools. Again, there I was just an average student, but when I saw other people, studying, working hard for marks, I was like, for me, marks have always been just one part of the schooling. I was more interested in the extracurriculars, but slowly that shift started taking place. I started prioritizing my education more, like the academic part. And also I saw that, all the women in my family, the educated ones, were getting more importance. When I saw that, then slowly from my 8th standard onwards, I started studying. I thought that, I have to prove myself. That's when I slowly, I think by 9th and 10th, I was the topper of my class. I had to literally study every day. I used to wake up at 5. I'll just solve everything, on a daily basis so that I can perform well in the class and get that recognition. So that's what even happened in 11th and 12th. I was not in a hostel. So I was a day scholar. So I used to go from home every day. And I had to struggle a lot because I was not a topper, right? I had to work hard every single day so that I can be counted in the top 10 or somewhere over there. And that's how I made it to JEE.
Both of you first attempt?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So what did you do at Kharagpur?
So pretty interesting actually. After 2 stressful years, right? Going to Kharagpur was like just giving like all sorts of freedom to a kid, right? I was 17 when I went to Kharagpur. Like a year, I'm 97 born, so I was approx 17 when I went to Kharagpur, and I was like a kid who's just let free to do anything. So first year I did a lot of things. I did not study at all. I did not study at all. I played a lot of video games, which is something I loved to do since childhood, but completely stopped during the JEE preparation years. And I got that freedom back, so I played a lot of video games on my laptop. A lot of co-op games with a lot of batchmates on the local network. And I watched a lot of TV shows, series, participated in a lot of extracurriculars, like just went and visited all the events and events that all these clubs and societies hosted. So that's pretty much how my first year went. Of course, tried to balance my academics, which is very easy when you go to IIT. You just have to study for a week before the exam. So that's how the first year went. But then I started realizing, okay, what do I really want to do? I came to IIT, I chose my discipline, but is that really something I want to do? Is something else that I want to explore? So I started like figuring out what other options on campus are there that would really help me achieve or understand what I would like to do. And then since second year, I joined the core team of the campus Tech Fest. Started working with them. I really started loving what we did as an organization. Managing a 1.2 crore budgeted fest was something that looked big, that also gave a confidence that, of course, I can learn a lot of things and actually execute a thing at such a huge scale, just being a second year student in in a IIT. And that's what I did. I worked for that fest. Like, this is of course extracurriculars. Worked for that fest for like throughout the second year, and then in my third year, I decided to contest for elections. Again, just to go in that direction of building my leadership skills or having that managerial mindset, right?
These are general elections.
These are campus general body elections. So I contested for the tech subcommittee of the general elections. And that was a different journey altogether, like 3 rigorous months. You have to do your campaigning, you have to learn the constitution of the student body in and out. You have to make sure you build your network or connects with the student community to like get that. And luckily, or through hard work, it just panned out well. And after I kind of won the elections, I also headed the Tech Fest at IIT Kharagpur. So that's how my third year went, like managing the student body, the tech events of the student body, as well as the Tech Fest. Simultaneously, I then figured out, okay, like what else do I want to do? Like what kind of an internship I want to do? And I thought getting an exposure, an international exposure, would be a good thing to have on my resume. Also for the experience. So I did my internship at UC Berkeley, did a research internship there, and came back. Figured out, okay, since I have the skill set, like what would be the right career path to choose? And then I started thinking about consulting as a potential career option, and then started applying to different companies, got through LEK. And yeah, that's how my journey at college was. So it was, I would say, less academics, but a lot more extracurriculars, managing a fest, contesting elections, then managing the student body, etc., etc. So that's how it went.
So you give credit to your time at KGP to groom you, to
Yeah.
help you evolve.
Yeah, in fact, I would say KGP, yes, definitely. Like KGP is the main factor that really kind of transformed me from someone who didn't know anything to someone who learned a lot of things and who could do a lot of things in the future. And a lot of the credit goes to, I would say, the seniors whom I had access to, seniors from the fest that I worked for, seniors from my hall of residence. So these people, they selflessly devoted time and effort to groom me throughout the process, throughout my time in the fest, throughout my elections, throughout my internship as well as the job application journey. So I think none of this would have been possible if it were not for the support of these seniors. And I mean that's what I really love about the culture of KGP. Like people learn a lot from their seniors, and people always manage to pass it on to their next generations or next batches, and that definitely made an impact.
And both of you pursued different courses. You were doing architecture,
Yeah.
and yes, you were in the mechanical department.
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering.
Yeah.
Okay. So Aishwarya, how did you reach? How did you make the most of your years at KGP?
So to be honest, I never thought I'll be doing architecture. I again did the same coaching and same preparation for JEE. It just happened so that my rank was not good enough for one of the top courses. I mean, usually these courses have rankings, right? So I couldn't get into CSE or civil or mechanical in one of the top 7 IITs back then, the 7 that were there. And I was very adamant about going to an old IIT, and that's why I was like, I don't care about the course, I just want an old IIT, because one of my relatives, like, he studied at Kharagpur, he did his masters over there, and the way he explained Kharagpur to me, I was like, I want to be there, I want to be on that campus, I want to explore everything. And that's how I landed in Kharagpur. However, the moment I came to Kharagpur, things were very different, because till now I was with the support of my home. Like, even if I did not do well in a test, for suppose, I come home, there's dad to, counsel me. He's like, it's okay, it's just an exam, you'll do well next time. But the moment I landed on campus, my rank was in thousands, some 7,000 or something. And my roommate's rank was in triple digit or double digit. I was like, oh no, they are like the toppers, they are really good. So I started feeling that, maybe I'm not that good. Everyone else is, I just felt that, maybe I'm somewhere in the bottom over here. And I saw that there were many people like that, who just give in to that thought over there once they reach the IIT campus. However, I did not let that, stay for a longer time. I was like, okay, it's okay. This has happened many times. I've never been that topper, right? I was like, it's okay, so what? I'll go and do all the extracurriculars. That is where I have been good at, what I've been good at. So my first few weeks at KGP, I literally interviewed for all the clubs and societies. And the worst part was, I did not get into even a single one. I was thinking, what's happening? So I was way too honest. Some literary society, they asked me, do you write? I was like, no, I don't write, but I just want to learn. I'll just come and do. So I made a lot of mistakes. I was like, I just went in everywhere. I was very honest. And slowly I realized, okay, this does not work. You should talk as if you're a professional. And the moment I realized that, that is when the social and cultural fest team started recruiting. And first year, I went in there. I was like, this time I was very prepared. I went through their Facebook page. I totally, understood the fest, and then went, and then I interviewed, and they were like very happy with me. And then I continued with that fest. I went on to become the core team member, then the executive head. And that's how, my journey over there started. So it was a lot of trial and error. And also my department, so usually what happens in IIT is, the first year is common. And from second year onwards, they're introduced to their departmental work. But for architecture, it was different. So from the first year itself, we are introduced to our department, and all the department seniors, there is something called tech dad and tech mom. Then I have tech granddad, tech grandmom. Okay. So anyone with my roll number, they're supposed to mentor me.
Okay.
So I knew at least 5 to 6 years of people, with my roll number. I used to speak with them, understand which courses are good. there was a lot of support that came in, and not just in terms of academics, but it also in terms of internship. Like, what should I be doing next? Is architecture something that I should be doing, or what are the other opportunities on campus? So that's how I explored the campus. In fact, I was a part of the fest. Then for a semester or so, I was a part of ISEC. It usually looks into sending students to for internships abroad. I was a part of it for a short duration, and then even I contested for the campus elections. I was like, "Yeah, fest kar liya tha abhi, let us try the campus elections as well." And my seniors, for some reason, they thought I'll do well. Initially, I was a bit hesitant. I was like, "I'm living a peaceful life. Why do you want me to go fight for everyone?" They were like, "No, you're very good at it. You should actually do it." So they pushed me. And the funny part was the hall of residence where I stayed. A candidate was never, no one ever contested from that hall of residence, and I was the first one. And no senior knew how to, groom a candidate. So I used to go to boys' halls, and they groomed me. and boys halls are like really, how should I put it? Scary, to be honest. I was like, yeah, all this time I was this lovely kid, and all of a sudden everyone is grooming me. They're like shouting on me, what is this? What is? They basically prepare the person who is contesting for all the ups and downs one has to deal with while dealing with the administration. And that really changed my perspective. Till then I was just a student. Now I'm a student leader, right? So I was contesting for that position. So I had to understand all the politics that happen on campus, how the administration deals with students and all of this. So that changed my view. And also I felt that maybe I don't want to do design for a long time. This seems more interesting. Let me pursue a career in this. And luckily I won the elections. And post that, that 1 year was extremely challenging. At the same time I learned a lot, which, to be honest, which I still apply in my professional career as well. So that is how my KGP journey has been. And in architecture we have a 6-month internship. So I did a proper design internship because I wanted to experiment. So my KGP journey, I told myself that be open to every opportunity, because I never wanted to do architecture, but still there I am. I did something, and I never thought I'll be in an IIT, but then I just happened to be there, right? So I thought we never know what will happen. So whatever is there, explore everything. So I did my 6-month internship in architecture, and then now I was confused. So I'm good at everything I do, or at least that's what I told myself.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Now I'm like, what should I do next? Should I go pursue a career in architecture? Because the initial few years are going to be very struggling, like very bad, because architects are not paid well. They'll have to do their own practice, but doing that will take a lot of struggle. But at the same time, I felt architecture in general in India is very outdated. Like there are many countries over there that leverage tech to design everything, whereas India is much behind. And I felt that, okay, maybe we'll shift to this space once India moves ahead. Till then, let us first explore what is there on the tech side. So, and this was not a thought that occurred to me over a day. I spoke with many seniors who pursued career in different routes. Like I spoke with people who pursued consulting, people who are actually doing design, who are building, houses over here in India and in abroad. So I spoke with a lot of people, and the best part was they were willing to teach me their mistakes or tell me what their mistakes were and guide me through this process. And that is how, just 1 month before placements, my mind shifted. I was like, no, now I'll give all the exams. Now I'll sit for placements as well. I won't just accept the design career. So that's how I shifted, and then I got placed at EXL on the first day, and this is what happened during KGP.
So is this how both of you also met? College elections, student body?
College elections is definitely where we started like seeing each other more. We were like we became really good friends back then in college.
I even helped him with his thesis. I did the design part.
So we in engineering we have this in the end of 4th year, right? You have to do this BTech project, BTech thesis, where you have to submit something that will kind of something that can be implemented, right? So my project was building like a solar panel roofing across the campus, because I did civil engineering. So solar panel implemented structures or something like that. So I did all the groundwork, all the research, all the structural part of it, and I sought her help for building the designs or the 3D modeling part of it. That's where we first started interacting a lot more back in college.
And then I got a treat from him.
And then the rest is history.
Not yet.
Okay.
So yeah, we actually started dating like almost at the end of first wave of COVID. So around December 2020. But at least back what happened in campus, the elections, the thesis and all, that was a good starting point to help us at least know each other.
So over 2 years or so, I think you graduated in 18 and you in 19. Is that so?
Yeah.
So over those 2 years, how did you sustain your friendship?
I think the thing about KGP is the friend need not be there physically, right? I have always interacted with students who have even graduated KGP like 5-6 years ago, and I still feel like they are my batchmates. And even though he has graduated, I used to reach out to him for placements help. He helped me with what should I prepare for, and even in fact I was considering giving GMAT back then. I thought maybe I should apply for the young professional that ISB has this program, right? The final year students can apply. I thought maybe I should apply for that. I reached out to him, okay, what should I study? Since you're already there doing something out, just guide me on it. So we were friends, we used to keep in touch, and he also cooks a lot. So whenever I need some tips related to cooking, or if I have to visit Mumbai and need something, I would reach out to him.
We didn't know this, Yash.
No, I love to cook.
So what all do you like to cook?
So mainly, I mean, see, I'm a vegetarian, so I practically cook 3 cuisines: Indian, Mexican, Italian, because these cuisines have the largest amount of vegetarian dishes, right? So practically everything. In fact, just like 2 weeks back, back at home in Hyderabad, I was really craving that authentic Italian pasta, the spaghetti Napolitana, right? The tomato sauce pasta. I cooked it at home because I really wanted to experience that taste again. So getting like all those ingredients from Italy itself, right? So you have these Italian canned tomatoes, and then you have the al dente spaghetti, right? And a lot of those things. So I just made sure that all the ingredients are authentic, and I then cooked it and I had it. And I called a couple of friends over to share it with.
You are giving me incentives to catch you in Hyderabad now.
Definitely. Happy to cook.
Awesome.
So, in fact, also like back to your previous question, when I graduated from college and when she was in college, I came back to college for convocation, then for recruiting, placements and all, right? So we used to always figure out a time to meet each other and have conversations. So there's a road on campus called 2.2. It's a 2.2 kilometer long circle where people just like keep on walking. A lot of good conversations happen on campus and all. So that was our go-to thing. We used to do those 2.2s and have catch-ups and discuss things. So that kept us going. In fact, we visited Kharagpur again like in Jan this year.
Wow. So you relived old memories.
Yeah.
The Maggie stall.
Sorry?
Your Maggie favorite hotspot.
Yeah.
The Maggie daughter.
Yeah, they demolished it. They rebuilt it actually, a new one. So that, but still, good experience.
And how was your experience during the pandemic? How did that shape your worldview? What were your experiences?
You want to answer?
So I think the pandemic surely hit. I think it hit everyone hard. One, because either I see my close ones are ill. I saw many of my friends lose their fathers, and it was very painful. And in fact, I and Yash and a couple of other friends, we had this plasma donation drive. Since we had a huge network, right, because of these elections and campaigning, we could network with a lot of alumni. We could network with many students. We didn't know them personally, but they could recognize us because we were a part of the campaigning process. And so we created this, plasma donation drives. Like if someone in Delhi needs some blood group platelets, then we would just post it on a WhatsApp, and then we had a list of all the students and their blood group and everything arranged. So I think that was also one of the processes during which we bonded. And also the COVID, I think we had to stay at home the entire duration, right? I was going mad. I was like, what is happening? I have to stay at home, and then we only work for a few hours, and post that there's nothing else to do. So I thought, okay, let me pick up cooking. Then I reached out to him. 1 week he sent me Momo's recipe. I made it, I would show it to him and then post it on Instagram. And so that's how it started. And also because of COVID, I gained a lot of weight. Like there was no physical activities at all, and we had to sit the entire day to work. And I saw myself, it was also impacting my mental health. Staying at home all the time, and sometimes parents, they come from a different generation, right? They don't understand. They're like, what's wrong with sitting at home? I do it all day. Why can't you do? So that kind of thing came up. So again, he was my go-to friend. I used to reach out to him, and we both started fitness routine. So he was following someone on Instagram, and then I was like, I'll also follow. Then we both took a course together as friends. We started doing that, and we used to check on each other. Okay, where is your fitness routine? Are you doing it today? So some days I'm low. I'm like, yeah, today I'm bored, I'm lazy, I don't want to do anything. He's like, no, it's just one day. You push it today, and then you'll be able to, complete the streak. Something of that sort. So we pushed each other through those tough times. And then later on, also COVID gave me this reality that, we never know when we are going to die. And I really wanted to see snow or touch snow. I was like, this year I'm going to do it at any cost. So I wanted to go on a trek in Himachal or Uttarakhand. This was something that I finalized. Then I was reaching out to all of my friends, and luckily he was again the person who was also planning a trek. So we both went on a trek. We did Kedar Kanta together, and then we realized that we bond on so many things. We could push each other through tough times. Then I think we should date, and that's how things started. Yeah.
Yep. For me, COVID, I remember I came back from Italy around mid-Feb, and 20th Feb was the date when I think Italy went on a lockdown. So I was lucky to be back home on time, else I would have just been stuck there. So that was one thing that happened. But first 15-20 days, we just thought it's a small thing, right? COVID, it'll go in a month or so. It's just a short-term thing. So that was all fine. We all went back home, vacated our homes, and we just, not vacated exactly, but all of us went home because we had these long leaves and all. So we were all happy and stuff. But suddenly the realization hit, okay, this is not going anytime soon. This will stay here like for a long, long time. And that's where we realized, okay, I'll be confined in this house for the next many months. We don't know when it will stop or when it will end. So things had to change. Like a lot of things changed. Good thing was I was with my family, my mom, dad, my sister as well. So all of us were together. That was the best thing. But the other thing was, okay, this is the reality now. What should we do next? I was working in consulting, so consulting hours. That too sitting at one place without all the perks or benefits of consulting. So it slowly started becoming very stressful. So like 2 months into the COVID journey, all I'm doing is working all day, then eating, then sleeping. And again, it was not really a healthy choice, not really a very mentally pleasing choice to do. Then I decided, okay, as she mentioned, right, we started following this person on Instagram who had this fitness routine and all. So every day during like from 7 to 8 p.m., I made sure I tell my bosses or people who I work with that I'll be taking this as a break. This is for my own sake and things like that. And from 7 to 8 strict timings, I used to finish that workout routine every single day without a break. So first 10, 15 days or 20 days, it was really tough to get adapted to the routine. But with time, as I started seeing the benefits of on my mental and physical health both, I started continuing the routine consistently. So in consulting, like I had gained a lot of weight, but during COVID, I started losing weight because of this good routine. And it also made me mentally really positive, and it really helped me, it gave me the confidence to try new things every day. So I started learning about stock investing, I started learning about crypto trading, or even in stocks, you have these investments in derivatives like options and futures trading, right? I started reading and learning more about those. So I picked up on a lot of new things while in COVID. Of course, then I used to love cooking from like since childhood. So I then used cooking as a go-to thing if I'm feeling stressed. And every day or every week, I used to experiment with new dishes and things like that. So I used to treat my family with new dishes almost every alternate day or every week. So that's how it kept me positive throughout the COVID period. And I think it was a time that changed a lot of things. I lost both my grandmothers during the COVID. I couldn't even see them because of the lockdown. So that was a mentally most stressful thing. But because I was with my family doing a lot of things, it really kept me going throughout that journey. Again, as she had mentioned, we started that plasma donation drive where we used our networks to connect donors with people who needed that plasma, right? You remember there was a time when this plasma donation became a thing, which was later called, okay, it's not useful. But at that time, we felt that we could make an impact by leveraging our network to make sure that the people who need plasma are supplied with that. So that's one thing we did together back then. And we enjoyed doing that and helping others. So it was more about doing new things, helping others, making sure everyone around you is happy. That kept us going during that period.
I think both of you were also working on providing mental health.
Yes.
What was that about?
So that came out in a later stage, right? Like going through all of this, it definitely impacted our mental health. Me losing both my grandmothers and not even meeting them, and of course, everyone had everyone had their fair share of issues, right? And luckily, we both had access to counseling through our companies, partnerships or tie-ups. So we had those insurances or tie-ups from companies where where we didn't have to pay for these expensive counseling services that really helped us in a way. So we decided, like, okay, we are so privileged, we have access to all of these things. What about all those people who can't afford like paying 1,000 rupees or 1,500 rupees per hour just to consult without any guarantee of results, without knowing how long it would take to really change things? So we decided to initially we decided to see how we can make it happen. Like, where can we generate funds to um, sort of sponsor these sessions for people who are underserved. And first step we did was we tried to convince some counselors to offer, let's say, a few pro bono slots, free of cost slots, where we bring in college students and get them to counsel with these therapists. And that's how we started. Later, we reached out to a couple of people and sponsors where we raised some amount of money. And then we started sponsoring these sessions for people, because that pro bono model is not really scalable. People won't always be willing to give you those free slots, right? Because it becomes a huge challenge for them as well, the counselors, right? So we started getting those funds and sponsorships from individuals. We ourselves sponsored certain sessions, as well as some NGOs and organizations who would be willing to fund these sessions. We collected a corpus, and then we started sponsoring sessions for students. Students based out of colleges in Bangalore, because back then we were based out of Bangalore. So that's how we kind of started this.
So how did you put all this together? You ran it through a website, an app? What did you?
Yes, we ran it through a website, but it was there's two parts to it. One is the supply of the counselors, which is you go speak to different counselors, network with them, understand whether they'll be willing to offer these sessions at a pro bono or a subsidized cost. Second is, on the demand side, you go to different colleges, talk to different deans or principals, where for schools that don't have these counseling centers, right? And seek people who would really need that help. So that was done through principals, teachers, and deans from that college. And then to fund these, we separately, individually reached out to people. Of course, we had a website where we could get inbound, but it was mostly through going to these schools where we sought more people, and then networking with different counselors, and then networking with these donors to get some sponsorship amount.
So this all of this you did in 21?
No. This was, we started in 2021 only, but we are still doing it to a certain extent today.
Oh, so how many students do you think you would have reached out to or helped?
Reached out to, that's a tough number, but the students who took these sessions would, the sessions can be one session or 5 to 6 or 10 sessions as well. We reached approximately 40 to 50 students. We could actually sponsor or facilitate those sessions for 40 to 50 students.
At an individual level, that's an important thing that you did. Imagine 50 lives now are better today because of your effort.
Hopefully.
So, Aishwarya, I believe you have thought more about this, no? You wanted to do something regarding mental health care. You wanted to do something unique with architecture. Do you still have those aspirations?
So I do have. Back when I was in college, there was this course called interior design. It was there in a second year. And as I mentioned, right, when I went to KGP, I saw everyone, there were different kinds of people. One, it was a national platform, so I could see people from all backgrounds, like someone from a rural place in Rajasthan who does not speak English at all. And there's someone who is, from a city like Mumbai or Delhi who knows everything that's happening internationally as well as on a national level. So there were all kinds of people. And when I could when I started relating with them, when I started working on team projects with them, I also realized the hesitation, the lack of support that they face. So that kind of made me more curious about mental health in general. Then I started reading about all kinds of diseases, and I was very intrigued with the thought that how can I design a space where people are cured just by the space. If so, the entire concept of interior design is to trigger moods, right? A cafe is, you feel very comfortable sitting in a cafe and working, you're very relaxed. And maybe at some time in a temple you're very humble, the big sculpture, the scale, decides the mood. Then I thought, why do all the why do we need instruments to treat everything? Why can't there be spaces to treat mental illnesses? So that was the thought I had. But I could not pursue it for a longer duration during college because I was so involved in all the extracurricular activities. And later on, when he struggled with his own mental health during COVID, and in fact, I was struggling with my own. I started my GMAT preparation, and that triggered all my emotions. So then I thought, I was lucky to have, my company surely sponsored all my counseling sessions. And the moment I realized that, I thought I was one of these, I had one of the privileged people, to be honest. I had access to good institute, and then I had good access to good coaches. And then I thought, if I am facing so many issues, and I did not once think to pay for my counseling session, I did not even think that, maybe I should take it. I took it because it's free of cost. I thought, okay, let me try it at least. And therapy surely made a huge difference in my life. It changed the way I thought about myself. And like I owned a victim mindset for a brief period of time. I thought, why is everything going wrong with me? From there to what did I do about it? So it completely shifted my thought process. And then I realized that, what about people who don't get to experience this at all? They don't even know that, their thought process can be changed. One needs to have that access at least to one session so that they can realize the potential of therapy. So we were discussing that, why don't we start with pro bono sessions, so that, and we thought students, again, they were more accessible, and also they will be open to, trying out new things. So we reached out to a lot of healthcare professionals. Also, we understood that, mental health care is not very, very well known in India. So even the counselors don't get paid a lot. They don't have a lot of patients. So we had to pick up, something that is both beneficial for the counselors as well as the people seeking therapy. And we came up with this. We had few sessions which will be paid and few sessions which will be pro bono. We had to come up with something of that sort, and finally we
to
settled
convince
that.
the counselors.
Yeah.
Also, we had to choose, not choose exactly, but the way we convinced the counselors was, you'll get access, or it will benefit your own research when you speak to more people from this particular category or this particular background. So it helps you in your research and your further learning as well. That's how we sort of convinced some pro bono counselors, but then that was not scalable.
Yeah. In fact, we targeted few students, like there was Christ University, and there's one in Indore. So they were therapists, people who are learning in their final year. They have to do pro bono counseling for a certain duration. It's like an internship for them. So we thought, these would be, they are getting some patients, and these patients are also getting access to therapy. At least they can know, maybe in the future, whenever they are, they have a lot of bad thoughts, or they're going through some trauma, they know that there is an option. So maybe we could clear the problems for few people now, but we showed them the path, that there is a new path for you in the future. Like if ever you want to pick up this path, it's always there. So that was the goal we started with,
In
to
fact,
provide
some
that
students
access.
started paying after they did these sessions for free, right? They started directly paying for the sessions because they found it beneficial.
That's so nice to know. And tell me now, when you look back at your journey, we are in 2024.
Yeah.
Over the years, what advice would you give to other couples in your position?
I think people should be open to each other's thought processes. Like my thought process and her thought process varies a lot. A lot of times, I mean, it might seem like a conflict to a lot of people, but when we open and think from each other's perspectives, we realize why we were thinking in that way and why she was thinking in one way and why I was thinking in one way. So one thing we've realized is neither of us are wrong in any conflict, argument, or conversation. It's just a way you look at different things. And once you start accepting that thought, I think the compatibility that you have with your partner increases a lot. And that's definitely one advice I would have for everyone. But people in our age, no, I think that's one. That's a very broad question actually, but that's one thing that really strikes when you ask this question. What else do you have in mind?
So that is surely there, communication. So I don't just tell the output to him. I tell him the thought process behind that output. Because oftentimes I think a lot. I think a lot and just say two words. He might not understand the context. He would not know what's happening. Then obviously it will lead to more misunderstandings. So I decided that, I'll tell, even if it is long, I'll tell the entire thought process. Now you figure out why I said that.
But looking at both of you, I feel the greatest treasure both of you have is that it's a relationship based on solid friendship.
Yeah.
We see that friendship stand out, and that is the most beautiful thing.
So one thing is definitely there, like we are definitely friends. I would say best friends before even we are partners right now. So a lot of times I say something that might have been, offending to a girlfriend, but not offending to a friend. So it works out in our way.
I can openly scold him, tease him in front of others. I don't have to worry. Like if I by mistake use a bad word, there's no problem because we did it before. So
because we were friends. So that definitely is there. And other thing I really feel I would really advise to other people or other couples is, okay, let's say people might have different journeys altogether, right? I mean, not everyone would want to go for MBA or the same journey as we did, but it's more about like understanding the other person. It's more about offering all sorts of support to that person no matter what that person wants to do, which is what kind of helps. There was a time when I, like back in 2022, when I was preparing for GMAT, right? There was a time where I was really, how do I say it? I was really motivated to prep for GMAT, but she wasn't feeling that, that motivation, that does she even want to do MBA or does she even want to prepare for GMAT? So it was giving her her own open space to think, figure out, yet motivating her on every step that, or guiding her or helping her come to a decision without forcing her to take that particular decision. So that's one thing that I would, that we did. So there were times when, okay, we figured that we want to do an MBA. We had our GMAT prep. And I would say GMAT prep was a little bit stressful period because you have your 10-12 hours of work. Then you come back home, you see the classes, you then do your self-prep and all. So it becomes a very exhausting thing. And you literally have to do it every day if you want to get a good result, right? So, and what might happen is a lot of days she might not have the energy or I might not have the energy to do that. So it's about motivating each other when at least one of you has the energy or that motivation or that push to go through that day. And if you do that consistently, motivating each other and pushing each other through the journey, I think you'll get good outcomes.
I think the other thing that stands out so beautifully in your bond is how you've evolved together. Exactly what Yash has been saying, that to motivate and help, be there for each other. So I think the best partnerships are which are based on solid friendships and that they evolve together. They're forward looking. There is this thing we talk about that you can be in love and you can constantly be looking into each other's eyes. But what about looking ahead together and growing together? And I think both of you are a great example of that. And it's so heartwarming to hear all this.
So even recently, right, in the past 5-6 months, so my Kellogg admit result came a couple of months before her waitlist converted, which was like a few days, like yesterday itself, right? But there was this 4-5 months of uncertainty. What would we do? What would we do? But that uncertainty was still very calmly managed by both of us. We figured out like all the scenarios. Okay, one scenario is both of us go to Kellogg. We were not sure when will that come. Other scenario is we both go to different schools. third scenario is I go to Kellogg because I got an admit earlier, and she maybe joins us the next year. So we figured out all the scenarios. We had like very mature discussions, what we'll do in each of these scenarios. In each of these scenarios, when and how do we speak to our parents about each other, because we haven't introduced our parents to each other yet. So we like very maturely has sat and discussed all the scenarios, and we both were very open to all sorts of thought processes in throughout that journey.
So I think all of us who know you had more sleepless nights over the waitlist than you both did.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Yash and Aishwarya, tell me, when is it that you decided that you wanted to do an MBA?
Can I answer that first? So I thought about what I want to do in my career a lot during COVID, like 2020, 2021. I thought a lot, what's the next step? What is it that I want to do? What's it that? And then I came to a conclusion, yes, the MBA is something I would really want to do for multiple reasons. We'll come to that later. But I would say end of 2021 was something when I was like, okay, yes, I want to do an MBA. Let's start preparing for GMAT. And that was the thought that happened. And then I started preparing for GMAT, but not with that dedication. I just started reading more about what the exam is about, doing some solving some questions and things like that. But with time, it kind of started evolving. The kind of dedication I gave to GMAT started evolving and changing. But yeah, it was around that time when I decided that I want to do an MBA, and for multiple reasons. One is definitely the exposure that I would get from a good M7 MBA, the exposure to a new network, a very diverse network that would be there, exposure to a new way of thinking, a new way of studying that I not necessarily have access to today here sitting in India. Next thing would be access to a lot more opportunities than I have right now. So for example, when I say a lot more opportunities, it can even be the industries I'm currently working in, but in a new geography altogether, also because of the work environment and the way things work over there. So it just gives you access to new perspectives and new learnings. And of course, brand was one piece that I always had in mind. Like since childhood, not childhood exactly, since 10th, I wanted to do my undergrad from a good brand. So I really worked hard for an IIT. Now, the same thought process remains, like go for a good brand, get education from a good brand. That central thought remains in my family. And that's where I thought I want to do an MBA from an M7. So that was the overall thought process, the thought journey, and when I started really thinking about my MBA. But yeah, you can talk about your journey. Yes,
In my case, back when I was in college, I did think about giving CAT or GMAT, but that was mostly to apply for the Indian schools. And then that thought dropped by. I mean, I just thought I'll do it. I prepped for quant for like 1 month, and then I just let it go. But slowly, when I saw him preparing for GMAT and a couple of my friends were also applying for MBA, then I thought I'll also do. So this is how I started with it. I was like, I'll also do. I also want to do. Everyone is doing, I'll do. But when I started preparing, for GMAT with that thought process, I could not succeed. There was no personal motivation. So after working so long in a startup the entire day and then coming home with zero personal motivation, I cannot achieve anything. So I would just open the book, open the PDF and sleep. That is what I did. I fooled myself for at least a year. I would tell that no, today I'm going to solve this, OG and all of that, but I didn't do anything. And I gave a mock test and the score was horrible. My confidence level dropped because in my mind I was preparing, but in reality I wasn't doing any such thing. So I realized first I need to know what I'm doing and why I'm doing. I should not do it just because everyone else is doing. So that is when I reached out to people who are doing an MBA. I reached out to everyone who is planning to do an MBA. What is that you want? Then I tried to relate, okay, is there anything that I would want from, are these things that I would want in my future? And with time I've realized that, okay, for me, what are the problems that I'm facing? I have the same set of friends. Every friend I have has an IIT background, is either working in a consulting, VC, PE, or is in a startup, or is a developer somewhere. And the conversations we have are very similar. It is good in a way, but it is also, it's not letting me evolve. I felt that, maybe I need to have better conversations. I need more diverse people. I need a different perspective in life. And when I started reaching, I reached out to few people from Berkeley Haas, few people from Kellogg back in 2021. I did not apply. I just thought I'll reach out. How are they doing? What are the courses over there? And I saw someone who did their bachelor's in anthropology or something, and that girl is doing her MBA now. The perspective that she brought in that discussion was completely different. So I realized, okay, maybe I want to be in a place where I'm surrounded by people from different backgrounds, from different work experiences that can shape my thinking process. So IIT surely changed the way I look at people. The MBA process surely, the entire application process changed the way I look at a person. I no longer look at a person with their credentials. I see a person growing up in a certain environment and how they have, evolved to that stage. What are the resources and support they had, or what is that they lacked? Even without that support, how did they grow? So I started looking at a person in entirety. Now that is a thought process change which helped me a lot to, support myself as well. Like when I am down, this change in thinking, especially with therapy, everything that came to one place, and I realized the way I think is what is going to define my life. It could be relationship, it could be an exam, it could be my job. The way I think is the most important thing, and I'm doing my MBA to shape the way I think. So when that became clear to me, that is when I started, focusing more, preparing properly. That's when I reached out to you that, I really want a good score now. I need to do that MBA. Now the fire was there in me. I knew that I had to get it at any cost, and I'll do anything for it. So I mean, that personal motivation, once that came in, I could go to, any length to do that. So, yeah.
That's so apt, Aishwarya, because while you lack purpose, when you don't know the why factor, it's very difficult to push yourself beyond a point. You are then like an imposter, right? So when you decided, both of you, that you want to start preparing seriously for the GMAT, what was that journey like?
So I'll talk about my entire GMAT journey again, right? I started preparing back in October 2021, but that was very sporadic. I used to study for a couple of days, maybe an hour or so, and then drop. Then I took a 2-month break. Then I started preparing again in March 2022. I did it a little bit more seriously because I knew I want to apply for an MBA at some point of time. And then I got some score which was not exactly the score I wanted to achieve to get into an M7. So then I was kind of demotivated, and I figured out what should I do next. Then I saw Aishwarya doing classes with you because she started her GMAT journey as well. And when I saw a couple of your classes, I realized, okay, this is a way I would like to be coached or taught. And this is kind of an environment where I would really be able to understand where I'm going wrong, what I'm doing, what should I do, what should I change in the way I'm solving questions and all, right? Because earlier it was just self-study, just solving it was about numbers more than quality. Just solve 50 questions a day, and in 3 months you'll achieve, let's say, a 750 in the classic edition. That was a thought process I had initially, in which I could not succeed. But then I started taking classes with you after seeing Aishwarya's journey as well, and I realized, yeah, this is something which I should have done from the start itself. Get coached or get mentored on a topic or a subject basis, understand what's the right thing to do more than doing more number of things the wrong way. That will really help you improve the score, and that's how I prepared for a couple of months. It took me some two, three more attempts to crack my dream score.
I cannot forget your last 2 attempts. That will go down in history for me.
So, but what I mean, irrespective of the number of attempts I took after I started coaching with you, I actually realized that the way I was solving questions, the way I understood the questions and how they should be solved was really good. It was, the way I started solving it was really good. A lot of factors played role in why my score was still not meeting my dream score target, but I really felt that change after taking classes with you, that I was able to solve questions faster. I was able to get more accuracy in questions and things like that. So that overall journey extended for approx a year and a half, but the actual journey was only, I would say, 4 or 5 months that led to the final result.
So, do you know, this used to happen a lot with me till the time that you got your score. That if I knew who is taking the exam when, and I used to actually maintain a diary, whose exam is when and at what time, I would be totally mentally there. I wouldn't be able to do anything else. So there were times when people are taking the exams and I wouldn't be able to do my normal classes. I would be totally dysfunctional. And I think your last attempt was at night.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to sleep. So, after that, I think I had to put a stop to it. And so my therapist told me that the first thing you have to do is stop recording who's taking the exam when, because 365 days a year, you're going to lose it. You'll not have any sanity left.
In fact, my last two attempts, before my last two attempts, right, I would like to share that story as well. So I was getting like a 770, 760, 780 in my mocks. So I was very confident about, okay, I will crack my exam well. But then I took an exam in center, and when I went to the center after the GMAT was done, I got a 720. I'm like, okay, what just happened? Because I was consistently getting good score in mocks. I was creating my own set of questions and I was doing well in those. What really happened today? I was not able to figure it out. And then I thought, okay, I need to like put an end to this. Either take another attempt of GMAT ASAP. And because in center you can't just do 2 exams consecutively, you need to have that gap. I decided to take that online GMAT. And the only slot I thought would be good to have a quiet environment was like 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. in the night, because you'll have a lot of less disturbance from the traffic noise.
Barking, no honking.
No honking, no dogs barking. So that was the most silent time I could figure out, and that's why I took the GMAT late in the night. Got a 760 after that, which I was very happy about, though they gave me like a month's anxiety because they put my score under review, but eventually it panned out well.
And so you are among the last few people also to make use of that loophole of back-to-back 2 attempts.
Yes.
They figured out that we know and they closed it.
Yeah, I think I'm lucky in that way, because if there was another gap of 15-20 days, right, I would have just lost it. Like, I mean, it was already extending for so long, and I mean, I just can't take it anymore.
How was your journey, Aishwarya?
So, the GMAT journey was, again, as I told initially, I lacked motivation. But once I knew I needed it, now I first sat and I did an introspection session with myself. I just thought to myself, okay, what is that I truly need? I have been doing my prep all this time. I have been solving questions, but there's no one to correct me. So at max, we both do it, like I just show my incorrect questions to him and he does the same. But there's only certain extent we can reach, and neither of us are really good at this, right? We didn't score an 800 before, so we don't know what to do. So we just thought, I thought for myself, okay, I need a mentor. This is clear. I cannot do it by myself. And the most important thing is time. So once we start a professional journey, right? Like when in college, we have a lot of time. We might still, take that leap of faith that, I'll try it on my own once. But I saw that it did not work, and I also started panicking, and I would take attempts one after another, just like that, for the sake of, I literally gave GMAT like mock tests at one point. Then I realized, see, one, it is I'm just wasting my money, and two, more important, I'm wasting my time. I need a mentor. So that's when I reached out to many people. And what the best thing that I found with you was your voice. You could calm me down immediately. I had this soothing, relief when I spoke with you. And I felt that, you will guide me personally. So it's not a huge class where, I have to go through a recording. I can sit with you and discuss the issues that I am facing. And I knew that is what I needed. I needed a technique to solve things. Till now, I was just doing with whatever I know. There was no proper technique. There was no approach. I lacked that. So the moment I and my friend Spandana, like we both discussed and we were like, okay, we both don't have this. We need to surely sit with Shweta ma'am and we'll have to do this. So that's when I reached out to you, and the moment I started, coaching with you, I realized how to solve CR, how to solve SE, like all the color coding techniques and everything. It made me more confident. So I am that person. Even during JEE, I needed to know the process to solve it, or else I should at least figure out the process. I cannot do things at random. I need that structure. So I could get that structure from you. And again, I think the most important thing in this entire GMAT journey is consistency. So there was a phase initially when I was extremely confident and I was getting 730, 740 in my mocks. And then slowly that faded away because I was like, I'll give it later. I'll just take some more time and prepare. I think that was a mistake I made. It is both good and bad, but now when I look at it, I think giving all in for at least 1 to 2 months is much better than spreading it across an year. Consistency and actually giving all in would have actually reduced my GMAT journey.
The more you stretch it, the more it gets bad.
So there are a lot of things. Friends are getting married. Something happens at home. We have to attend some functions. So there are a lot of disturbances that keep coming if we stretch it out. So
I mean, one strong recommendation to anyone who wants to take the GMAT: give proper time. Take 2-3 months. Give your hours to those 2-3 months for GMAT prep. Close it, and then think about other things. Like, don't have that gap. That's one advice I would give to everyone.
It cannot be done in fits and starts.
Yeah, because if you have that gap, all your learning goes down, that trigger goes down, and then there's a learning curve associated again when you start prepping again. And then if you stop again, that same cycle repeats. So it's always better to like just get done with it in that particular span.
See, GMAT has a great analogy with sport, especially cricket. See, if I want to become a good cricketer, I want to play a good match. Don't we Indians often criticize our cricketers and say, oh, this guy is not in form. अब वो form में कैसे आएगा? Is he going to be in form if he plays on weekends or once in a month? That's not going to happen. But if somebody is playing consistently every day, even if it's not for many hours a day, that person will arrive at peak performance form in roughly about 3 months, max 4 months. And what happens inside GMAT can also be compared with cricket. You have an over, you have 6 balls in over, and how each ball is going to be thrown as the batsman, you don't know what's going to come. So you don't know what question is going to get thrown at you. And can you allow one ball to shake your confidence in the next ball? You can't do that. So you might get a 0 on one and you can get a 6er on the other. But if you allow that 0 to disappoint you, to rattle you, then you're going to be out the next ball. So I really like how closely cricket and GMAT go hand in hand.
No, very, very valid point actually. Quite a good analogy.
So how did you decide when you were applying that you want to apply to Kellogg?
My thought process was very clear. Like, I wanted to go to the M7. Within M7, the way I chose schools was, I spoke to a lot of people. Of course, there were a couple, HBS was my top choice, which I didn't get through. But the other thought process was, will I be able to survive with this population? Will I be happy if I'm going to that particular school? And how do we figure that out? You speak to all the people. Like the vibe or the understanding you get of the personality of the person you speak to. Like, do you vibe with that personality? Would you want to be a person among these set of people? Would you want to, do you really like the nature of the people going to that particular school? So that really set my mind on Kellogg, like even before applying to Kellogg, other than a couple of other schools as well. But that definitely made Kellogg one of my top choices. One thing I really loved about Kellogg is the support that the community has. Like, you literally have support for almost everything on campus. You'll be guided, you'll be mentored really well. The another good thing about Kellogg, which I'm realizing right now, which I just had a hypothesis of before applying. So like in India, we have this Kellogg groups, right? Kellogg Delhi group, Bangalore group, Hyderabad group, Mumbai group, right? The kind of people I've met, I was literally, I was amazed. Like when I went to the Delhi meetup for Kellogg, I met people who are either founders in a startup, who have their own, who are working for a family business. One of them is working for political advice. He's doing political advisory, working with different government agencies. Then one of them was doing film shooting. The other guy was, again, a PM in a startup. Then I had some other strategy ops person working in a startup. There was a engineer, there was a product manager. Like the diversity I saw just in the Delhi meetup was, just amazing. And interacting with them, not even for a single second I felt bored. It was a pretty amazing conversation.
So you had this very interesting experience, and though it is interesting in hindsight and stressful when you must have gone through it, you both applied in round 1. You got into Kellogg in round 1, but you were waitlisted. And this waitlist has taken 4 months to convert. So what happened in these 4 months? How did you deal with that stress, that anxiety? That's one. Two, and how did you convert the waitlist?
So the moment I got the news that everyone is getting the results, I was anxiously sitting in front of my email. I was like checking it every second, and then I got to know that he got in. I was like, okay, maybe I'll also get in, and I was just checking anxiously, and I didn't receive a call or an email. So now I know that I'm not accepted. So the chances either I'm waitlisted or I'm rejected. But those few minutes were extremely traumatic. I was like, I have to let my emotions out. I sat, I cried for 45 minutes. I blamed everything in the world. I did this, why did this happen for me, and all of that. I let go all the emotions. And then I sat. Now I'm like, okay, now I'll sit and think. Those 45 minutes were extremely important for me to, not think at all and let all the emotions, come out. Then I just thought for myself, why am I assuming that I'm rejected? Maybe I'm waitlisted. And luckily that night I got the email that I am waitlisted, and we both were happy. In fact, the moment we knew that I was not accepted, he did not celebrate. He was like, I got in, but I was like, no, you don't have to wait for me, you go celebrate. I was not in a good mood to support him, but at the same time I was like, no, you can party. I was like, no, it's not just about me getting, we thought we'll go and do this together. And I was like, okay, that changed it for me. I was like, okay, till now I was just looking at, hum dono ka alag alag careers hai, we'll have to, come to that point. I need Kellogg, or, I need that B school in my resume. But the moment he told, no, it was supposed to be our thing, we were supposed to do it together. So I'll celebrate later when the process is still pending. He was like, no, I got an admit, but I don't know if I'm going for an MBA yet. You did not get it, right? So we'll just see what will happen next. That moment I realized, okay, there is someone to support me. I don't have to worry. And that thought that, what will happen if my partner will leave and I'll stay back, will we break up? All those thoughts vanished in a second. I was like, okay, this guy will be there. If necessary, he'll drop his MBA, but he'll stay here. So, I mean, those few words which he told, I would not want him to drop his MBA, but the thought relieved all the anxiety. And I was like, okay, fine. Now, I prepared the list of schools that I'll be applying in round 2. So the waitlist showed me that, I'm a worthy candidate for an M7. The M7 schools consider me, given my profile and, bachelor's in architecture and then a different career path. I thought they might not consider me, I don't have a consulting and VC or PE background or a chief of staff role. So I thought maybe M7, I'm not a good candidate for M7 schools, but I was proved wrong. I thought, I realized that I was underestimating myself, and these schools do look at me as a worthy candidate. So I just told to myself, be confident, apply to, all types of schools that I think are better than Kellogg, and schools I think, maybe ranked less than Kellogg. I applied everywhere in round 2. And again, there were a lot of waitlist in round 2 as well. The round 2, in general, the number of people who applied shot up by 30% on average in all schools. So things were not that positive. I later on felt that, I should have applied in round 1 itself. And then I got a waitlist from Columbia, from Haas in round 2 as well. So now I was confused. What is happening? And I just realized that, one, you either get an acceptance or people get rejected. I am on the wait list. So the good part is I can still fight for my chance. I should never stop fighting. I just told myself I was never a topper. I had to fight to get into that, top 10 or 3 in school. I was never, in IIT Bombay computer science, to be honest. But still, I had to fight my way through, wherever I want to be. So I realized few people are smart. Few people have had the opportunities to be in that profiles which lead to the B schools. Few people are in those feeder companies that, B schools blindly taken. They build that profile. Sometimes we are not. Just sitting and crying over that is not going to help. I'll have to utilize every single resource I have to convert it. Even then, if it does not happen, there's nothing much I can do. But I did not want to regret it later on that, I should have tried. So I just reached out to several students in Kellogg. I tried to understand. Meanwhile, I just assumed that, if I get an MBA, what are the next steps? I'll reach out and ask. These are my goals. What are the resources on campus, that I can leverage? I tried to understand why Kellogg is good for me. And the same for the other schools where I've been waitlisted. But among all the schools, Kellogg was my top choice. Again, because of 2, 3 reasons. The first one is the kind of people I'll meet there. My journey through GMAT, MBA, and the professional career taught me that the people I'm surrounded by plays a very big role in the way I think and my life in general, right? My growth depends on the circle I'm in. And I really wanted supportive people because I am that person. If I see someone, going through a struggle, if they are struggling, I would go and help them. I'm not that person who like, I mean, you figure out and I'll do my work. So that is, and I realized that is what I would need as well. So it's not about which college is top or, I mean, ranking is different for different people. That is what I realized. For few people, Harvard would be the best school. Maybe for me, it is not. In my ranking order, Kellogg actually comes first. And then I have Berkeley Haas because these two schools, the way I've interacted with people, are extremely collaborative and supportive. The number of people I reached out to on LinkedIn, I think I reached out to at least 40 to 50 people for Kellogg, and easily 80% of them replied with a message. And the same thing with Haas. This is something I did not see happening with other schools. And I realized, okay, this is the kind of environment I will grow in, I will thrive in, and this is what I need. So, and also I did not want to be an extremely academic focused place. Because my goal is not just to study, right? I want to grow as a person, and that's not going to happen just with academics. So, I mean, after talking to a lot of people, my thoughts or my thinking, or how should I put it, my clarity for Kellogg increased. Now, my goal was to convey this clarity to the adcoms at Kellogg. So, every 1.5 months, I would send them an update. These are the people I spoke with. This is what I learned. And I believe this is how I can use it for my future goals. This is how this is going to shape my career. I spoke with an alumni who graduated from Kellogg in 2012. He was an IIT Bombay guy. Then he went to Kellogg in 2012, and then he was in McKinsey, and then he's leading startups as a director. Now he's doing something of his own. So talking to people like him who did something that I plan to do in the future, that kind of opened me up, that showed me the possibilities that are out there. And I conveyed this clearly to the admissions committee over there. See, you have people, you have, coached, or you have produced people or the mindsets that I want to have in the future. And every waitlist update, that's what has happened. And also towards the end, like I got my result with the round 3, basically the round 3 results. But just a week ago, I sent them a revised resume. After all these months, I thought I should maybe get my profile evaluated by multiple people, because I and Mansi, who is my admission consultant, we both were only we have been looking at the same resume and same application from a long time, so everything looks perfect. Then I thought maybe I need a second opinion, just so that to identify if there's anything that we missed. And that is when I ran my resume through Rajdeep once. I thought, why don't you just go through my application and let me know if there's anything I can change. He was like, the application is perfect. You're saying that the interview went well. Maybe the resume can be changed a bit because, it's not reflecting your story. Then I thought to myself, okay, then I'll revise it. I revised my resume. I sent it over. I put in that effort to, remind Kellogg admission committee that, I am still there. And, I'm really interested in your program. And also I told them that, my partner is already admitted in Kellogg and we would like to study together or do all of this. And I also reminded them that how we both, when we are there at one place, we both, push each other upwards. And that is something we'll do if we are there in Kellogg as well. So, I mean, all of this, I think, made an impact. And also it's about being honest. I sometimes feel... even sometimes just for the sake of updating them, I did not have to put random projects, or I did not have to send them text. I had to send them my feelings. I had to send them how truly I want that college. And this 4 or 5 months, it's not just about sending them. In the process of sending them, I also realized how truly I want that college. And now if someone asks me what is that you'll do the first few months, I know clearly what I want to do or what are the clubs I want to participate in. It was not just I initially started with the thought that, what I want to write in my waitlist update or what I want to write in my application process. But these 4 or 5 months have made me more stronger. And it also let me explore other options. Like, what if I don't get into an MBA? What if, if I have to apply next year, then what is that I need to do? The way I approach the challenge, the mindset has changed. I mean, maybe previously 2-3 years before, I would have cried over it that, why this is not happening. But now I just thought that life is going to be like this. Everything is uncertain, right? Tomorrow, like, till yesterday, I didn't know what I'll be doing. And that's what life is going to be like. It could be job, it could be relationship. We don't know when what will change. So I just realized it's important to have different options and think logically at times than, instead of being driven by emotions, it's important to lay out the path clearly with proper rationale in terms of why I would want to do something. And if this does not happen, then what is the next option? And handle it like an adult. That's what this waitlist period has taught me, how to handle everything like an adult.
So I think till you evolved, the door didn't open.
Yeah.
The moment your evolution journey was complete, you got your admit.
Yeah.
So everything happens for a reason.
I agree.
It's been lovely talking to both you, Aishwarya and Yash. And I think so many couples, so many people in your age group, they're going to be inspired by your journey. We've learned today that you should not, you should get together for the right reasons. You should look ahead together and support each other. And I think that's been the best takeaway for me from this talk. Thank you so much, both of you.
Lovely speaking to you as well.
We wish you all the very best. And we're very excited about what's going to happen in the future. 5 years from now, I hope I get to sit down again with you and chart out what lovely things you're doing.
Definitely. We'll definitely do that.
I'm going to be watching you.
Yeah.
Thank you.